Welcome to Joa Fitness Health Wellness Video Podcast, a space to ignite your day through positive conversations. We bring people that have created excellence in their life, sharing high vibration in their reawakening path.
Hello everybody, today is March 7th, 2019 and we are here in Toronto in this beautiful place, and we are sharing with you guys, with the community of mothers and fathers too, why not, with everybody about childbirth, about everything related to preparing our bodies to be parents, pretty much. That's what we're going to be talking on this series, and I'm inviting people that have taught me a lot as I prepare my body to be a mother one day. So today we are with an amazing pelvic floor physiotherapist. It's a pelvic floor physiotherapist. It's so a specialist in that particular and crucial area of the body. So Nav Grewal, she is from India, right?
Originally actually Winnipeg, but I lived in India for about 5 years. So
Nice, yes. So she's back with us. We talked not long ago, a few days ago, we talked about Kegels and the core muscles. Was a very descriptive podcast where we actually show the pelvic bone and we talk about the important muscles that are together in this area. So now let's come back together in a new topic. It's going to be prolapse. And thank you, Nab. How are you there?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on again. It's a pleasure.
So nice. Yeah, we got very good reviews about our first podcast together. And now we're bringing back a very important topic, which is the prolapse. For this, we're going to be starting about what's the cause of a prolapse and what's a prolapse.
Yes. So prolapse is something that's basically like 90% of my patients I feel like have not heard about yet. 40 to 50% of women who deliver vaginally experience it to some degree. So that's a very huge, big number. So prolapse means something is coming downwards, okay? And in this case, we're talking about pelvic organ prolapse. So I'm just going to show, I know we showed this last time,
Yes.
the pelvic bone again. So in the pelvis, and these are in the red are the muscles, sit some organs. So we have the uterus, we have the rectum, and we have the bladder. And if the muscles become weak and the connective tissue becomes weak and they can't support the organs anymore, that is what can lead to prolapse. So the organs can start to descend and move towards the vaginal entrance, which can cause many different symptoms in women, including heaviness, pressure in this area, bulging, either at rest or if they're doing exercise.
Wow. So this one question there is not only affecting women but men as well?
No, this is female related.
Okay.
Because of the vaginal entrance, we have that extra opening, and so from there organs can start to descend and come towards there. Men can experience with very high loads and pressure, like from the anus, but more so it's female related.
Well, that's a good thing to know, because actually when I posted the Kegels one, certain guys were like, is that the Kegels for men or for women? It's like for everybody that has a pelvic floor. You know,
Yeah,
Kegels are for everybody. Amen. Like what we were saying in the Kegels podcast, that men can also activate those muscles and they will improve their actions as well. So this is important to know. But in this particular topic today, prolapse is more affecting the woman, right?
Yes, correct.
So for prolapse, I hear a lot of women after childbirth that are having these problems. So let's talk about you as a physiotherapist and me as a Pilates yoga teacher and personal trainer, how we're helping our clients to strengthen the core muscles that we just talked in the last podcast. Tell us about breathing and what are the main exercises to activate this area to avoid prolapse.
Exactly. So because prolapse is caused by having a lot of pressure on the muscles, so we want to make sure when women are doing exercise, when they're moving, lifting their car seat, carrying their baby, that they're breathing. right?
Okay.
Because as soon as someone holds their breath, that's actually a lot of pressure inside that can push down on the organs, right? And in general, we want to do belly breathing versus chest breathing. A lot of women and men tend to do chest breathing, and we want to do diaphragmatic belly breathing to help activate the core. And then we can do a Kegel or we can do an exhale at the same time when we're doing the exercise. So the breathing is very, very important with lifting, and obviously as a fitness professional, you see that as well.
For sure. Like Nav is telling us the main point of strengthening the core, which is breathing, and it's not just when you're meditating or when you're doing the yoga class. It's all the time to keep the posture tall and to keep our muscles engaged the whole time to be prepared for anything. So like we see a lot of people when they lift objects, they can actually cause this, right? When they cause hernias and all this because they're just not aware of the importance, how fundamental is to have this. Can you please teach us a short way to breathe? Like what's the best way to just be breathing on the whole time? Like how would you teach this?
Of course. So the first thing I would ask someone is to take a nice long inhale as an assessment. So if I notice someone doing this,
exactly.
that raises a red flag to me because then they are not really breathing into their belly, okay? What we actually want is for this area not to move. So I generally have someone put their hand on their chest, one hand on their belly, and to get them to minimize how much this is moving, and this should be moving out kind of like a balloon.
Correct.
Okay, the inhale. Another way to do it is to think about an umbrella being in the stomach and opening and closing with the inhale, exhale. So that's how I would get them to just breathe, honestly, in different positions, lying down, sitting, standing, and then with movement as well, doing that same breathing. Very, very important.
So as you're talking, I'm breathing like that. I breathe like that.
The chest is not moving, so that's good.
Exactly. I breathe like that the whole time. I was diagnosed with scoliosis when I was 15 years old. So I was forced to strengthen my core since I was a teenager because it was the only way for me to avoid scoliosis to get worse. As you know, you're a physiotherapist, and most of the people have a little bit of a scoliosis.
Yes.
So I was just like forced to do this because my condition. But I try to always engage my posture, even when I'm seated. I try to reset my shoulders. So for those people that are breathing through the thoracic area, the chest, they're also putting so much tension on the neck, right? And they're putting so much tension on their jaw, on their neck, and their trapezius. So we encourage everybody with this podcast that please relax the shoulders away from the ears and just keep the breath connected to the main area, which is your abdominals. Yeah. Now, we talk about core muscles, but remember, core muscles are not just your abdominals. It's also the lower back, your glutes, your hamstrings, your hip flexor, your inner thighs. There's so many muscles there. So what are the best ways to do the Kegels to avoid the prolapse?
So different positions, many different positions. Just like if someone is sitting 8 hours a day at the desk, I often tell them, okay, take a break, go for a walk, do some rotations, do some stretching, right? So same thing for Kegels. If someone is doing Kegels lying down for the rest of their life, that is not functional.
Okay.
So if someone is wanting to work out, avoid prolapse with running, I would recommend, Kegels with squats, Kegels with lunges, Kegels with movement. If you're doing yoga, child's pose, down dog. So the more you can incorporate it, the better it is into the exercise program.
For the tension on the Kegels, do you like to keep attention when you breathe like the elevator that we were talking on the last episode? So we breathe, we engage the muscles, the P muscles, all those muscles attached to the pelvic floor, and then we tighten them, and then you lift them up in the elevator, and then we just tense it. For how long would you tense that muscle?
So the way the muscle contracts is closes and lifts. So you want to hold it at the top for at least a few seconds. It can be 3 to 5 seconds. And say you're doing a squat, you're going down, you can tense it, you can come up, or you can do the opposite. You can do it at the top, go all the way down while it's tensed, and then let it go.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Without putting tension on your face.
Because not putting tension on your face or going like,
yeah. The breathing, of course. Yeah, so basically we're talking about exercises that are functional. We use them all the time. So squatting, when we go to a toilet, when we sit, when we stand, those are basic. So we engage the core muscles when we do squatting. What about launching, when we're kind of like cleaning up the snow, right? We're shoveling all the snow so we can launch in that position, tighten the core to avoid any disruption there.
And then the most important part is also, in general, other things that we're doing that can be causing prolapse. So if someone is chronically straining on the toilet, pushing out, right, or if they're doing heavy lifting at the job and they're always holding their breath, we need to breathe. We need to not strain, because it doesn't matter how many Kegels you do if you're still holding your breath, if you're sitting on the toilet and you're trying to push out with a bowel movement.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's so great to talk about all this, because it is affecting the population, and we need to remind them how important it is to breathe, how important it is to engage the core and to keep the posture tall. So do you want to talk about something much deeper about prolapse? So this is kind of like what we can just share. Do you have anything else to share with us?
I would just say, if someone's experiencing symptoms, especially postpartum, to listen to their body. So in terms of like, if a woman is wanting to go for a run or do higher impact activities, including jumping jacks, plyometrics, if there are any symptoms of leakages, heaviness, pressure, bulging at the vaginal entrance, that's a sign that the body is saying, I'm not strong yet. We have to do a little bit more core strengthening before they can do those activities. So body weight exercises would be okay until they strengthen with yourself as well as me, and then we would slowly get them back to those activities that they love. It doesn't mean that they won't be able to do it. It just means not yet.
Correct. So like for you are a pelvic floor physiotherapist, which I love it. I love what you do. Definitely you're helping so many people out there, not just mothers, but so many other people. So I want to know, for example, if I have a prolapse, unfortunately, and I come to you and it's like, oh, look, I have these symptoms. I've been diagnosed with this. The treatment that you do, how long does it last? And what's actually the protocol that you use for someone that has a prolapse?
So it depends on what they're presenting with. I would check how their back is moving, how their hips are moving, hip strength, and then abdominals, as well as internally, the pelvic strength, right? So if someone comes in and their prolapse is quite low and their strength is like basically the muscles are doing this, that means they need a longer period of time with the strengthening, versus if someone comes in and they have good muscle strength, and I'm like, okay, well, we can do Kegels now in all the different positions that I mentioned before, lunges, squats. Generally, muscles take anywhere from like 8 to 12, 15 weeks to fully strengthen, but we would be gradually progressing the exercises. We won't be leaving the exercises the same for weeks. That gets boring as well. People lose motivation. But that's kind of the general timeline that I find it takes with prolapse. And Kegels, yes, have been shown through research to help reduce the prolapse and pull it back in.
Right, yes. It's everything starts with breathing and Kegels. Everything. As a teacher of Pilates, I think this is what I bring awareness in terms of how to activate the glutes is so important. When I do the Pilates core, everybody has to squeeze the touch. It's so important. Huh? So one more question. I wanted to ask you, like my mom, actually my mom, she got a surgery after having 2 kids, like me and my sister. She actually got a surgery because she got 3 prolapse. So they have to leave her organs with nets inside. So they actually can get very serious because she have to go to a surgery and they have to lift. I remember it was 3 prolapse. So it was like a net supporting that because it was too late to fix it with the Kegel. So this is something that if you don't address it on time and you just ignore it, it can get really bad that you actually have to go to the surgery room and get fix it like that.
Yes, and the recurrence rate after surgery is quite high. It's about 30% of women who get surgery down the line will require surgery again because they might not be doing Kegels after.
Right.
Okay? So if someone's going in for surgery, before surgery they should be doing Kegels, after surgery they should be doing Kegels so they never have to have that surgery again. But we don't treat it the same way. It's like getting knee surgery and then never doing exercises, right? But yes, it's true. Kegels are so important at keeping it, and the breathing is very important at keeping everything and preventing anything from worsening if someone does have prolapse.
Yeah.
And it is debilitating because then women don't want to do activity if they have something sitting quite low.
Yes. And this can also affect intercourse?
It can affect intercourse. If it's severe prolapse, there might be pain in certain positions during sex. The woman might not even feel like she wants to have intercourse because of it. But generally, if it's a slight prolapse, then the partner might not notice it. The woman might not even notice it.
Yeah. And does episiotomy, which is the cut between the anus and the vagina, for those that don't know, so for people that have episiotomy, would this affect or increase the chance to have a prolapse?
There is no hard evidence to show that, but cutting through any muscle affects the way it's working.
Okay.
Right? And so if those muscles have to support the organs, then yes, after a cut, the pelvic floor muscles will be weaker. There will be scar tissue in that area as well. Generally, what I do is we massage it out to help increase the blood flow as well, but that can lead to decreased support for the organs if they're not being held in place properly.
Yes, and incontinence, like holding the urine and the person cannot last normally, that also will be a symptom.
That's actually, so leakages and prolapse, like someone can have a prolapse without having any leakage. And that's actually worse because then they don't see it coming down.
Yeah.
Right? And actually urinary retention, and same thing for bowel, where the person will feel like they cannot properly empty their bowel or bladder because everything's descending and it creates little pouches. So that's actually more so a symptom of a prolapse.
Okay. Wow, great. So, well, we talk a lot about things. We talk about even surgery. So somebody that has a surgery, they come to you and they do the post-operatory physiotherapy with you, right?
I wish that was happening, but that actually doesn't happen a lot.
Oh, okay. They ignore it.
I would see them beforehand, so doctors will send me patients saying this woman has a prolapse, please treat her. But the women who actually have surgery, I hope they go to a pelvic physio or they do their Kegels, but I never see them, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think my mom got the surgery and she never did the Kegels like these, like I'm sure like she has some type of knowledge, but I don't remember her going to a physiotherapy right after surgery.
Well, you can teach her now if you want to.
No, she knows now. Like I teach her on the floor breaches. I actually, before squatting and lunges, I truly believe, being a Pilates teacher, that breaches on the floor, like doing the hip thrusts, is the safest way to activate the core without putting pressure on the joints. Because if you are overweight, unfortunately, you won't have the flexibility or like the strength to lift your body. So squatting will be hard. Lunging will be hard for those that have extra weight. So I actually, from the floor, I think it's very safe. You're really focusing on just the core. So that's what my clients do and my parents do as well, because I always teach them every time I see them. So, well, this is so good, Nav. I love to get into this deep knowledge about prolapse and Kegels, now connecting with the last episode. So I'm very excited for the next one. We're going to just keep it there like a secret so you guys can follow up. If you have any questions and you have any comments about what we just talked today, we love to hear about it. And you can always contact Nav in Toronto, Yoga Mamas in Toronto area, here in Canada. And you can also contact her on her website. What's your website?
Oh, I have a website, thepelvicphysio.ca. I write research-based, evidence-based articles that kind of like draw from the research what exactly we should be doing for different conditions. And I actually wrote an article about prolapse a few weeks ago. So
that's
out there
so
as well.
perfect. Can you repeat again your website?
So it's thepelvicphysio.ca.
Easy. Thepelvicphysio.ca. Yes, awesome. And mine is joafitness.com. As you guys know, everything is there. I don't have any article about prolapse, but I should totally read yours and attach it to mine so people can get to read it as well. Amazing woman here, Nav, doing a great work for the mothers, for all those people that need help with the core. And now we're just giving knowledge, and knowledge is power, and we just want everybody to be healthy and to be happy. Thank you so much, Nav, for being today with us, and have a beautiful day. Thank you, guys. Remember, together we are stronger. Thank you.
We invite you to subscribe to this channel and share with your community. Please leave comments below, and if you like the episode, click the like button. Have a beautiful day.